Welcome to the Logistics Point interviews. I'm joined by Russell Holmes from Autostore, and we're going to talk about what happened in technology and logistics in 2022 and then moving forward in 2023 and some of the projects Autostore is also introducing on the market. Russell, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you, Nick. Glad to be here as always.
Looking into the past year, what are the big takeaways when it comes to technology in logistics, supply chain, and specifically in retail as well?
I think what we've seen in the last 12 months specifically is this a general shift away from large-scale mega projects that have been the traditional backbone of logistics, retail supply chains. Typically those projects are space hungry, they lean more on fixed automation that are designed for a specific performance criteria, often requiring new DCs, greenfield. We've seen organisations, also with how flexible the market is, push more towards utilising existing infrastructure, which means that the automation needs to be much more flexible, be deployed possibly in smaller areas in a more modular fashion, and then be able to be scaled quickly afterwards. So we've seen this trend of the automation needing to make the existing infrastructure more efficient, and it means smaller, scalable systems that have been deployed, and the automations need to match that.
Is this because people are trying to invest money smarter, or because the market is actually driving these facilities being closer to consumers?
The challenges faced within the supply chain are probably still the same as they were 12 months ago today. The labour shortage, energy costs, increased SKU demands from the end users, mass customisation. So not only are there more SKUs, different types of the same, plus seasonality adjustments means the SKU profiles are altering very rapidly. So there still is a requirement to deploy automation in these facilities. It's how it's been done that has been altered. It's not a one-size-fits-all anymore. So the organisations are having to adjust what they're doing in terms of their operations and finding different pockets where automation fits, which is pushed away from this mega project to more smaller, 10, 20, 30 million perhaps, some instances, in one DC and then a different DC for a different operation, perhaps bringing them together. Again, this theme of we have space in existing warehousing or existing retail parks, how do we better utilise what we've already got without going and spending hundreds of millions on a new site somewhere?
And if you look in the automation and technology, Autostore obviously works quite a lot around retail and retail partners. What are the things that you see will happen there coming in 2023?
Most retailers we work with, the focus is on the customization for the end user. It's all about the end user's experience. Again, we've already mentioned SKU profiles changing. That's one aspect of it, how much they can hold in stock, how quickly can they get it to the customer. The other side of that is how the end users or the customers actually purchase and interact with the retailers. We've seen obviously the shift from mass in-store to nearly 30% on average online. That's been one aspect of it. There's a shift back slightly now to going back to in-store, just ever so slightly, people feeling more comfortable with going out again, doing shopping as you would traditionally. So there's a mixture. This omni-channel approach now is really taking hold. But what it doesn't always solve is you go in store, you can collect something, you try it on, buy it there. You order it online, it gets delivered home. Well, that requires you to actually be at home. So it either gets left in a safe space or you end up going to a pickup point somewhere to collect it. The last piece of the puzzle is where we're seeing some, specifically Autostore now actually concentrating on, is this order online, buy online, pick up in store, or pick up near the store in a kiosk out of hours. This customization is not just about what we're buying, it's how we're purchasing it, and the automation started to target that now to enable the users to buy online or buy in store and pick up at their convenience when they need to. And that's what the pickup port is for on that side.
Do you see this type of technology expanding in the next years?
It's not going to replace how we currently do things. I think it's an addition. It's all about the customer's experience improving. It's all about customizing their own way of purchasing things, focusing on their experience, how they do things, and at their leisure. There will be other types of automation doing it in a different manner. It's better utilising existing infrastructure. There's a lot of stores at the moment that maybe don't quite meet up to what customers are after. They can't really find things, or maybe the stock's not available. Interesting figure I read a few months ago. It's something like a 4% walkaway rate if stock's not available in store. I think it's the same online. So the technology behind all this now that's improving should enable stock to be held locally or online, or even enable the customer to go and collect it or pick it up or have it delivered whenever they want.
Do you think that this could be, in a way, a barrier to adoption? The fact that maybe customers are not really used to that type of specific technology or robot or whatever it might be?
Whenever we've deployed a system in the distribution centres, there's always an element of training the users to get them familiar with how they operate things and how they work, and it takes time. With the automation that's deployed as a customer-facing piece of automation, it's not going to have that bedding in period. It's live, and it's live on day one, and yourself, me, we have to be able to walk up to it with our QR code or however we've decided to interface with it, scan it, and then follow a series of LED lights to be able to operate basically what is a manual port. The robots are behind it still, same as a typical auto store, delivering the product into the port, but then it's a light indication system for the operator to open it. There's the correct safety technology deployed in there to stop any problems that may occur. Follow the on-screen instructions, and it's a very simple system. I think every piece of technology had a purpose that's been released, wherever it's come from. I think an area where everyone expected it to be deployed, ASRS systems, conveyors, AGVs, whatever that is, there's always been the 3PL market. And that's something that everybody's still concentrated and convinced that automation has a place there. It's taken longer to adopt. Maybe down to how contracts are deployed, flexibility within those organisations perhaps didn't match the automation that was available. Maybe it was to do with finance. It could be any one of those reasons. But we have seen a trend now within that area where the 3PLs are actually starting to adopt ASRS technology, Autostore in particular. And it comes back to the automation's ability to be flexible, scalable, deploy extremely quickly with the ROI that matches their model. And it's also supported now as well by going further into this with robotics as a service, pay-per-pick models that are now available. I think the automation has been there to be able to solve it technically before, but maybe it didn't match the model that the end customers were looking for.
Russell, thank you very much for your time. And for everyone watching, you can learn a bit more in the description below. Thank you very much.